My name is Mary Pisarkiewicz, and I am founder and chief creative officer for Pisarkiewicz Measuring Company, or we're often known as PM & Co. And it is a brand design and marketing communications firm based in New York City. We've been in business for over 30 years and worked with and rebranded and provided new branding for over 100 different corporations and over the years.
Share with us some early days of starting your business. Typically, they normally say it's difficult to go into business as a woman. Have you experienced some of it? And share with us the early days of your journey.
The early days of my business, I was actually rather naive. I went to Parsons School of Design to study communication design. So I'm one of the few people that is using their degree very specifically for what it was intended for. And I started doing professional work while I was still in school. And by the time I graduated, I really sort of had this bevy of clients. And I was so busy doing real work, I never had time to interview and get a job, because I'd always thought that I would get a job and work in a design studio and therefore learn how the business aspects of running a studio would work, knowing that I was educated in all the design and creative aspects. But I never got that opportunity, so I was sort of learning by doing. I didn't know how to write a proposal initially. But fortunately, one of my teachers became one of my mentors, and also my husband is an entrepreneur, and so he helped me with a lot of things in terms of the business side of the business. And I graduated in May, and around November, I realized that, hey, I've got a business here, so let's make it work. And here we are 30 years later. Yeah. And that's how it happened.
I mean, and then if we move on to the highlights of your business, I suppose, to start it the way you started, it was a highlight on its own. But as you're running it over the 30-year period, what are some of the highlights?
Highlights was renting the first commercial space and negotiating those sorts of leases and negotiating major retainer contracts with companies like American Express. Every time you increased the number of employees and training them, and a big highlight of our business was becoming totally computerized in the early 90s. When I learned, we used T-squares and triangles and rubber cement, and ordered I typed from the outside, and it was very hands-on and design specific. Now we are much more, we solve much broader problems. We start with strategy and research and positioning, and before we even put a pencil to paper or put your hand on the mouse for the computer. So we're all encompassing. We often act as outsourced marketing departments for our clients. We have 2 clients right now actually on a retainer basis, and that's what we do. We are the marketing department.
And in creative industries, it's a bit of a unique one in the sense that you might have a concept, but the client might have a concept but can't put it into context or put it down for someone else to understand.
Typically a client doesn't have a concept.
Okay, yeah.
He might have a business concept, and we make that come to life. Typically a client comes to us with a problem.
Okay.
They've encountered a loss of sales, they've encountered new competition, or their marketplace has completely changed due to lots of things affecting it, and they need to increase their business, and that's what we help them do. We go in and look at everything and identify the problem areas, and go in and fix them, create a strategy and a rationale and methodology to changing them and fixing them. And then therefore affecting their bottom line and increasing their business.
Yeah, and supposedly that's when they start to get excited when they see the difference in the bottom line.
Absolutely.
But then how do you draw the line, or how do you close the gap between the concept, why is it still somewhat conceptualized, and can convince the client to buy into it, and obviously then seeing the bottom line changes?
oftentimes so much preliminary foundation work has been done that there isn't much convincing that needs to be done at that point. If we just immediately went to that point, there would need to be a lot of convincing. But we've sort of taken them through, so they've been learning and growing and understanding what's happening to their business from our perspective. And so that by the time we recommend the changes, and change is hard, and that's what we are. We're really change agents, you know. And it's hard for everybody, but if you have the foundation and the education process, and you've got research to back it up, and you know, take them along and have them truly understand what's happening to their marketplace, why their business isn't doing well right now. You know, these are the obstacles. You know, this is what we've learned. This is what people say about you. You know, and it's very easy to do research these days with the internet. You know, and you know, show them exact quotes as to what people think.
Yeah. Now going back to the communities, I mean the global community, talking to the girl child as a potential businesswoman and entrepreneur, what would be the word of encouragement, obviously based on your extensive experience in the industry?
I don't know who would want to miss this opportunity, quite frankly. Excitement of learning about the different cultures and languages, even people's names. You know, some of people's names are so foreign to us Americans, and you know, it's just very exciting to be able to learn about that and work in that, and also to be able to educate them about the culture of the U.S. And what sorts of things they'll need if they come and do business on our turf. These sorts of opportunities were never open, well, rarely open to anyone in business, let alone women, except for the large, already multinational companies. And we've worked, you know, many of our clients, say like a Colgate-Palmolive or an American Express or Kraft Foods or Anderson Windows, you know, they have an international presence. So we've had experience in dealing with designing packages for different markets and getting a sense of cultural icons and things that are acceptable and not acceptable, and you know, because what may be okay in our country may not be okay in Mexico or South America. So I mean, anytime you learn something new, to me, is really exciting. So.
If you were to be given an opportunity to teach a class of students in business, what would be your key, probably 3 or 4 points of what they need to learn for them to be successful?
I do teach, actually.
Okay.
I teach at Parsons in Columbia. And number one, I think, is persistence and perseverance. You know, you need to be willing to work hard. You know, in the beginning, I remember many sleepless nights. You need to, you know, be very passionate about it, and you need to be doing something that you are passionate about. Otherwise, you shouldn't be doing it. Because to me, your work shouldn't be work. You know, it should be fun.
Life,
yeah. It should be fun that produces money. You know, they should. You know, anybody should have really background. You know, you need to have the basic background business skills and some acumen in finance, and then hire the best people that you can to help you with things that you don't know. You know, hire the best lawyer to look at your lease. Hire the best accountant to help you. You know, you can't do everything. It's impossible.
Well, thank you very much, Mary, for your time.